I'm back with another good topic. This topic is really, really good. So, the DNA, the police hit a spot up in Washington Heights, up there by Audubon. They found 40 pounds of methamphetamine. They found fentanyl and a whole bunch of other drugs stashed behind a trap door somewhere that was inside the wall. And they took one person into custody. I mean, it was a lot of drugs. As you can see in my thumbnail, this is crazy, man. I remember back in the 80s, up there in Washington Heights, they had a lot of trap doors, and a lot of partners was trapped. They was connected to each other, and they was traps, right? So they had that going on in the 80s. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. You know, you may be too young to understand what was going on in Washington Heights back in the 80s, you know. It was a big floodgates, a lot of cocaine, a lot of drugs was coming through there. Because it's Washington Heights, the bridge is right there. New Jersey, you know, that connection right there, whatever, you know. But that's not why I'm talking about this topic. The reason why I'm talking about this topic is because it's not worth it. It's not worth it selling these drugs. Some people may say it is worth it, but it's not, because in the end, greed is what gets you caught. Greed is what gets you caught. Right? You just can't get enough. You gotta get more. What happened is you become blind by fame, fortune, and riches. You become blind by fame, fortune, and riches, lights, cameras, and actions. So in the end, it backdoors you. For real, this entity backdoors you. You know, it's loading you up with the fentanyl, with the drugs, with the methamphetamine, and everything else. And you don't know that it's going to backdoor you, but it's going to backdoor you in the end, the beginning, and whatever time, basically. So, you know, with this big drug bust, there was millions and millions of dollars, basically. So this is the plug. This is the plug. Could be the plug for New York. You know what I'm saying? That's pulling up. Now, you can say that, oh, somebody's snitching. No, it's nobody snitching. It's greed that snitch you. It's greed. And it could be somebody that's telling, but to be selling drugs like this at a high value, you must know that you're going to get caught. The feds is watching you. You can't get away. So why take a chance? People say, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to sell the drugs and I'm going to get rich real fast. Instead of getting from the mud. This the prime example is when fame, fortune, and riches blinds you with greed, and they catch you in the end. It catches you in the end. You know, I'm going to show a video. I'm going to show a video right here. Give me a second. Yeah, this is crazy. I'll show this video.
The Florida port. The U.S. Coast Guard says crews offloaded 61,000 pounds of cocaine and 14,000 pounds of bulk marijuana at the Port Everglades in South Florida. Let's listen in.
Protecting our nation. 80% of all narcotics seized are confiscated at sea, underscoring the impact of Coast Guard maritime interdiction efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard brings unique authorities and unmatched capabilities as the world's leader in maritime counter-drug operations. Every single day, thousands of brave men and women of the Coast Guard stand watch, controlling, securing, and defending our border and maritime approaches. We are proud to serve as a part of the Department of Homeland Security and at all times, one of our military branches. Whether on the water or in the air, the U.S. Coast Guard works hand in hand with our partners. We're on the front lines in the fight against foreign terrorist organizations and other dangerous criminals who seek to flood our community with narcotics, deadly fentanyl, and other illicit substances. To truly understand the significance of this offload, consider this. The 61,740 pounds of cocaine represent 23 million potentially lethal.
Wow, you heard that? Did you hear that number? All that cocaine that was coming in the border. And it's crazy because it's been coming in. It's been coming in. So the Trump administration is turning it up. He knows that they've been drugs coming in those containers overseas. Those drugs been coming in. The government knew that. This ain't nothing new. It's not nothing new to having drugs and guns. Drugs and guns coming in the boat and coming in the air, you let it in. So now it's turning up the notch from the different companies. Different countries. You knew they was doing business with them. That's why they stopped. Because they want the people to pay the taxes and they want everything else. They want everything else. So we're not done right there. We're not done. Let me do a little more video and come on.
Doses. That's enough to fatally overdose the entire population of the state of Florida. Think about that for a moment. Enough cocaine to kill everyone in Florida. That's the immense scale of the threat we face. Maritime interdiction is, without a doubt, the most effective way to stop these deadly drugs before they reach our communities, before they destroy lives and tear our families apart. Under Secretary Noem's leadership, we, the Coast Guard, are committed to dedicating the resources and the effort necessary to stop the flow of dangerous drugs into our country. Over the past several months, the Coast Guard is accelerating its counter-drug operations in the maritime transit zone. In close coordination with our international and interagency partners, we are surging additional cutters, aircraft, and tactical law enforcement teams to the eastern Pacific Ocean to hunt down, interdict, and board these suspected smugglers, all in support.
Listen, the drug game is over. The drug game is over as you see it. They locking everybody up. So, whatever you got, you better get rid of it. You shouldn't be even doing it anyway. You shouldn't even be doing it. You see how much drugs they took off these containers that's coming off the sea, inside the boats, in these containers? That's a lot of drugs. Marijuana and cocaine. That's a lot of drugs, man. That's a lot of drugs. You know how many people's gonna be affected by it? You know how many kids that's gonna be affected by this? About these drugs? Being strung out? Overdosing? And everything else? That's destroying our communities? Destroying our loved ones? We gotta bury them because they putting fentanyl in it and they dying? This is crazy. This is crazy, man. This is a big war, man. It's a big war. It's a war. And I'm happy that they got these drugs. I'm happy that they got these drugs, man. That's right. Keep doing a good job because we need individuals out there that's
and now
doing this, man.
CBS News New York exclusive. A rainbow variety of deadly pills and trap doors to keep the stash a secret. It was all part of a multi-million-dollar drug bust that went down inside a Manhattan residential building, and neighbors say they had no idea. The DEA speaking only to Allie Bauman about the operation that they say has been targeting and tricking people online.
Chunks of crystal meth in purple and pink.
Splayed out as evidence, this is 40 pounds of methamphetamine, 1 kilogram of cocaine, and 2 kilos of fentanyl.
You're a CEO ready to scale, but focusing on the big picture feels impossible. That's why this
fentanyl, ingredients making up 120,000 colorfully fatal pills worth millions of dollars in street value, seized in Manhattan last month. They look like Lucky Charm marshmallows or something. Why is that?
Well, this is the calculated, deliberate treachery that these organizations are involved in. They're marketing these pills to our young people.
Frank Tarantino is special agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration's New York division. He says the pills were being advertised as the popular club drug MDMA, also known as ecstasy.
The MDMA that we saw on the streets 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago is very different than what we're seeing today, because it's actually methamphetamine laced with fentanyl.
This bust was 3 years in the making, and officials say was carried out in 3 Washington Heights apartments on Wadsworth and Audubon Avenues. The DEA says trap doors were built into the apartment walls to conceal the stash, nestled between unsuspecting neighbors. There, agents also seized an industrial-scale pill press machine,
Pressing hundreds of thousands of pills for distribution throughout the New York City area, but throughout the Northeast.
Last year, half of all pills that the DEA seized contained lethal doses of fentanyl.
The ingredients in which they're using come from mostly China, and oftentimes it's going through Mexico and into the United States.
Authorities have charged 38-year-old Jose Dario Veras with conspiring to distribute fentanyl and methamphetamine. But Tarantino says when one pill mill is removed, another operation is just waiting in the wings to take its place.
And as we get ready to go back to college, and as we get ready to go back to school, we really want our young people to be mindful of the dangers that are out there.
Allie Bauman.
They turn it up. That's what you call turn it up. That's what you call it, turn it up. And I don't like to clap, but I'm clapping. Didn't it save thousands of lives, hundreds of lives in New York City and just all around the world? And our children, you know, because a lot of these children that use these drugs that have methamphetamine in it, that have fentanyl in it, this is why a lot of them doing crime. This is a lot of them getting in trouble. This is why a lot of them getting locked up, because they're not in the right state of mind. You got individuals like him that's manufacturing this in apartments and making thousands and thousands and thousands of pills. And then you distributing that to the children. So that the children is committing crime. They shooting and killing people just to get high. You know, just to make moves and all this other stuff. You know, it's a lot of things that's going down in the underworld of crime, man. Crime does not pay. As you can see it, crime does not pay. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys, man. And this is terrible. This is horrible and terrible, man. It's horrible and terrible. Very horrible, you know? And I commend the brave officers, I commend the Coast Guard, I commend everyone that worked this case in the effort in keeping these deadly drugs out of our children's hands, right? And what they're not saying, marijuana also have fentanyl in it. They have fentanyl in it. It does, and methamphetamine. That's why it's so addictive like that. It's very addictive, but they don't put a lot inside this, and they don't put a lot inside this marijuana, you know? So that's just to bring awareness to you. And I'm happy that they did this big bust. So these drugs, you know, the bust saved thousands of lives, hundreds of lives. And I commend these officers, and I commend the Coast Guard, and I commend the DEA, I commend everybody that stopped these deadly drugs from coming on the street and destroying our communities, right? With people picking up guns and killing each other, and basically lying and waiting to backdoor somebody that was getting money and doing these things to kill somebody. So they just saved 100 lives, thousands of lives. So this is a really, really good job, and I want to commend this. You know, all this stuff going down. You know, this is something that Trump administration, basically, you know, these individuals knew all this stuff that was coming. They knew this stuff was going on. You know, this stuff is going on. What it is greed. Fame, fortune, and riches. Once you keep doing these acts, you think you're not gonna get caught. You're not gonna get caught. You're getting comfortable, right? And doing these acts. You're not thinking nothing of it. You think that you're gonna get away. You think that you're gonna get away, and you've been getting away. And next thing you know, boom. They knock on your door, and they come lock you up and arrest you. They've been watching you. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. And Now you was the one that was distributing this. You see how backdoor you now? Nobody's gonna be there for you. Now you're gonna get locked up. Now what you gonna do? Point the finger at this person, that person? You know, but you chose this life. You chose the life. You chose to sell drugs. You chose to do the trap. You chose for fame, fortune, and riches. Why, in the same token, contributing to killing people and murdering people, and having these youth killing and murdering each other while high, while doing this stuff. This methamphetamine, right, and fentanyl are in the weed, they are also in the cigarettes. I just did something about this. They are in cigarettes, they are in the weed, and this is where that methamphetamine and fentanyl. That's why it's so addictive. And you gotta have it. You gotta have a blunt in the morning, the moon, in the night, in the evening. You gotta have blunt. You gotta keep. Yes, I'm happy that this happened. This saved thousands of lives. Thousands of lives were saved, and our children. You know, keep doing this. Keep this stuff off. Keep this stuff off the streets. You know, our children becoming young junkies. They're being strung out because of this devil, evil, you know. So I commend them. You know, I commend them. I want to thank you so much for watching this. This channel is really, really dope. This channel is growing. I want to thank you so much for watching this channel, getting the information out. I really, really appreciate the likes, the shares, and this channel is really, really dope. We talk about really good topics on this channel that's gonna get us through. Right? We talk about solutions. Right? They need to take all these drugs off our neighborhoods and give us back our programs and give us back, have motion and movement where the children can play sports, their children can be everything in life. They want to become scientists, they want to become anything in life instead of becoming shooters and murderers and spinning the block and call each other ops and YNs and all of these other things, you know. Let's give back culture, let's give back talent, let's give back structure to our children, which they need it, you know. So I commend them from taking all these drugs off the street. Yes, I do. So y'all have an amazing night. Peace, y'all. Peace.